from that Nadi reading, according to that Nadi reading, that from that book.
From the manuscript?
From the manuscript. And with the help of a magnifying glass, he reads them. I went closer and I also examined that book. I couldn't read at all, only I see dots. Only when I borrowed his magnifying glass, and I then, through that I could see those things are letters. But I wondered how long ago, some thousands of years ago, those people had written these such small letters.
Now, Reverend Sir, with this experience, could you also explain to us whether there's any practical experience of mind reading of the prophets that have appeared in the world, like Lord Buddha and others?
Well, what he does is not mind reading. He is not such an expert person in that line. He is just copying the ancient documents and he translates them into modern Tamil or modern English.
Modern languages.
Yes. It is not true from his own knowledge he gives his predictions. Only he copies them. He reads them and explains to others. These Nadi readings were the prophecies of ancient rishis, not his own knowledge. There is no mind reading at all, not telepathy or whatever. So, he gave my whole life reading and correct horoscope. According to my Sri Lankan horoscope, I had been born in Aries, but according to that it is Taurus.
I see.
Vrishabha
Lagna.
And depending on that, he gave me so many life readings after that.
Of the others, you mean to say?
Well, I tell you some peculiar thing. He has a special chapter of Nadi reading to answer any mental questions. You need not mention the question. You need not ask the question. Only you have to think of the question. Then you have to hand over that horoscope. It is called Thanikandam or Pratyeka Kanda. And I tried so many things with the help of that. And on another occasion, after that several times I happened to go to see him and ask him questions about some persons and so on. Then one day, I felt I should ask about the life of the Lord Buddha and to know whether our Buddhist era, as we use it, is correct, or the way how European scholars state about that, whether their statement is correct. I want to know this. So I questioned mentally. I want to know the life of the Buddha. From that Thanikandam. Then I handed over my horoscope. Then he referred to that book of Thanikandam. Till he finds my horoscope there, he turned pages. Then he began to read. He said, "You have thought of Maharshi Gautama." That is how he used the words. "You have thought of Maharshi Gautama." I said, "Yes." "Well, it is here. Pay 20 rupees. I paid 20 rupees and he copied down the whole life of the Buddha in brief. And there, he has mentioned there, in that life reading I found, Lord Buddha's 3 visits to Sri Lanka also. And the Buddha's horoscope, the birth movement, and also something very important, that the date, our Sri Lankan date, 543 BC is correct, according to that. I got the whole life. It is just as we find, as what we find in our Pali manuscript in Sri Lanka. The same thing. There is no difference. No exaggeration, though some people mistake about our. I mean, they wrongly think that our description of the Lord Buddha is full of exaggerations. But that book says, not reading, these are correct. No exaggerations. And on another occasion, I want to know of the life of Jesus. So I thought of Jesus, and I handed over my horoscope. He referred to his book. He turned the pages according to the day I had gone to him. Then, after turning some pages, he said, "You are thinking of Maria Magan." That is Mary's son.
Yeah, Mary's son.
I said, "Yes." "Oh, it is here. Pay 20 rupees. And he copied it down. I have the copy with me, his own writing. And according to them, so at the same moment he has got it translated into English. And it says, by birth, Jesus didn't belong to a rich family. He belongs to a family of some
poor peasants.
Yeah, not
Yes,
so.
from a very poor family.
During his young days, this boy Jesus wanted to know the original teachings of their religion, because according to that, his family had followed a kind of religion called Asani, some Asani sect, and Jesus wanted to know the original teaching. So, without telling his parents, he joined some caravans and went to Egypt, and from there he went to Asia Minor, and then he left for India. After some months he reached India. He went to different teachers, but he was not satisfied. At last he met, fortunately at Kashmir, a certain Sarvastivadi Buddhist monk who was bound to Ladakh, western Tibet,
Yes,
to his monastery. And Jesus asked some questions, and this monk answered all questions. Then he was very satisfied. It is searching for this thing. I have traveled so far, now I am satisfied. Please accept me as your disciple.
Okay.
So Jesus joined that monk as his disciples and went along with him to his monastery in Ladakh. And he stayed there till 29th year. As a very clever scholar, he studied Buddhism, he studied medicine, he studied this development of occult powers, the levitation and so on, tracing his body, and healing, all these things he had learned. And in his 29th year, he returned to his own country and went on preaching this doctrine. At this time, like waves, people are being drawn to him because they were very pleased with his clear teaching. Then these people were afraid of his becoming so famous and being followed by vast majority of people, so they wanted to kill him. Jesus came to know anyhow that they were in search of him. He left Palestine, he left India. Now according to them, Jesus was not crucified. And at the end of this life reading, it says, this great person, Jesus, lived for the propagation of the Dhamma of the Buddha. His whole life he devoted for the sake of the Buddha. His name will never be forgotten in the world. That is how it ends. Now from it I understood there might be 2 or 3 kinds of Jesus in Palestine. What is mentioned in New Testament is not the very same person, partly his life and partly the life of another person who had been crucified, who was crucified. That is how I have understood, but I don't know. I don't like to hurt other people. I mean Christians to go on giving my ideas about these things.
Now, Reverend Sir,
I stop here.
yeah. Now, Reverend Sir, with your experience also, what could you say about the gain of knowing the Nadi reading for ordinary persons like us?
Well, if you have your Nadi reading there, naturally you feel to go there and get it. That means your Nadi reading is there. The persons who have no Nadi reading there, they don't believe and they don't want to go, they don't find opportunity to go. That's the thing.
Now, you also mentioned about these rishis. Actually, the entire aspect of this is that the rishis have known about individuals and they have written down all these things in Ola manuscripts.
Now, these things happen in this way. We questioned about that also, that mental question. The answer came between 6,000 and 5,000. I mean, during the beginning of Kali Yuga era, there were about 1,000 very great and powerful rishis who could see future so many thousands of years and who could see the past also. They had been gifted with such psychic powers and they got all this by the practice of yoga to the very high, level. They have developed their mind's power of looking future and past through yoga practice. There were a good number of rishis. So it is they who invented this Ayurveda and astrology and Indian palmistry through their psychic powers, through their experiences. They could enter another body. They could enter a tree and experience it. And then they give the value, the barks or roots or fruits or leaves could do. So in this way they invented the treatment for different diseases, and also they could enter with their astral form, enter this planet, and they could find the amount of attraction to Earth from these other planets, and they've invented astrology and astronomy also. So it is through their yogic power they gave to the world all these ancient occultic sciences. According to them, Ayurveda and astrology and palmistry are occultic.
Now, Reverend Sir, is there any connection between karma and rebirth and the Nadi reading?
Well, Nadi reading advises you, if you go along this way, this should happen. If you select the other way, such and such a thing would happen. Everything depends on your present way of living. If you live a good life, a careful and good and a wise life, then that would draw and attract your past good karmas to give their good results. If you go along a wrong and careless way, then past bad karmas will find an opportunity to come up and give you bad results. Everything depends on your present way of living. This is the advice given by these Nadi readings as well as in Buddhism. It is quite a it twice agrees with Buddha's teachings, their explanation.
Thank you, most reverend sir. That was a learned description given about Nadi reading from our most scholastic priest, Buddhist priest, Agama Pandita Balangoda, Mayitri.